These are all the hero augments coming to version 1.6 of Predecessor. Starting with Argus, Arcane Engine deals ability damage to heroes and grants you 2% movement speed for 1.5 seconds, stacking infinitely for 0.15 seconds of cooldown. Mana Catalyst restores mana equal to 10% of damage dealt to heroes, reduced to 2% for non-heroes. Basic attacks are 2 times more effective. Sonatic Shot, Sonatic Obliterator slows for 50% longer and has 50% longer range. Aurora, Ice Age, Glacial Charge travels 25% further. Frozen Fury, while Frost Storm is active, gave 10 to 20 attack speed based on hero level. Deep Freeze, ultimate radius increased by 20%. Boris, bolster barricade while your Tesseract is out, increase your armor by 10%. Savage Shred, detection protocol, mark shreds 25% physical armor for 4 seconds when consumed. Maul Prey, Chrono Swipe deals 40% additional damage to heroes below 20% max health. Countess, Shadow Strike, Shadow Slip cooldown is decreased by 8% on dealing basic attack damage to heroes. Sanguine Hunt, Blade Siphon deals 15% more damage to isolated targets. Bloodwell, takedown summon a pool of blood with 18 charges for 120 seconds. While standing on the pool, Countess consumes a charge to restore 2% max health and 2.5% max mana every 0.25 seconds. Crunch, Combo Crunch, Cross Crunch grants 4% attack speed for 2.5 seconds on hit, stacking up to 6 times. Lunge Crunch, Forward Crunch travels 25% further. Falcon Crunch, Empowered Right Crunch, uppercuts 200% higher but has a 50% longer cooldown when used mid-air. Dekker, Momentum Boost, Rocket Boots grant nearby allies within 800 units 30% decay and movement over 3 seconds. Photon Efficiency, Photon Disruptor decreases its max cooldown by 15% when hitting an enemy hero. Ionic Surge, Ion Strike, stun radius is increased by 30% and shred armor by 20% for 3 seconds upon stunning. Drongo, Smog Therapy, standing in Gag Grenade heals Drongo and his allies for 40 to 400 based on hero level over 3 seconds when stood in. Bring the Boom, Rad rounds explode and deal 30% damage to nearby enemies with a 400 unit radius. Shred Spree, Sharpnel Cannon has 85% reduce cooldown but deals 60% less damage. Feng Mao, Essence Cleaver, killing enemy units restore 3% of missing health, increase 35% to Earth Shatter hero executions. Imperial Duelist, upon basic attacking an enemy, deal 5% more and receive 5% less damage from them for 3 seconds. Seismic Smash, Earth Shatter knocks up enemies 350 units and stuns enemies for 0.1 seconds. Gadget, Blast Zone Sticky Mines has 25% increased exploding radius. Auto Lock Amp, Seek and Destroy homing speed increased by 25%. Ion Barrier Security Gate grants 50 plus 35% magical power shield for 3 seconds to allied heroes when they first walk through it. Gideon, Event Horizon, Cosmic Rift deals an additional 5% max health damage to enemies in the center 100 units radius. Abyssal Mantle, gain a 50 plus 50% magical power shield for 4 seconds when activating Black Hole. Infinite Impact, Void Breach has infinite range. Greystone, Close Cut Make Way deals 15% increased damage to the nearest enemy unit. Imperial Soul, Stoneforge Soul radius increased by 20% and deals 10% more damage. Tainted Oath, Sacred Oath applies 45% blight to enemies for 4 seconds. Grim, System Restore, upon blocking an ability, Energy Shield grants 25% decay and movement speed over 2 seconds and heals 40 plus 18% missing health. Quick Restart, triggering Pulse Fire reduces your current basic ability cooldowns by 15%. Instant Reload, killing an enemy with GTFO allows it to be recast for 8 seconds. Grux, Warlord's Challenge duration is increased by 0.25 on hit. Lust for Blood gains 8 to 16% healing against targets with maximum bleed stacks. Shifen's Blink, reduce your blink cooldown by 30%. Howitzer, Blast Off landmines, blast targets 20% further. Combat Thrusters gain 40, 80, 200% movement speed during Make It Rain. Sniper Shells, basic attacks grant 3% total attack speed for 6 seconds on hit, stacking up to 6 times. Iggy Scorch, Turret Maniac, increases your maximum number of turrets to 4. Badlands Belch, Inferno's Belch damage deals an additional 8% of target missing health damage and knocks back 20% further. Hold this, Molotov permanently gains 33 more explosion damage against heroes each time it hits a hero. Each hit also grants 3 max mana. Kallari, Execution Mandate, takes downs reduce current basic ability cooldowns by 50%. Deadly Finesse, Crippling Dagger has its cooldown decreased by 1 second and refunds 20 mana when hitting an enemy hero. Critical Override, Kallari's abilities can critically strike but her critical damage is decreased to 35%. Khaimera, Feral Ambush, ambush range is increased by 15%. Jungle Invasion, gain 3 plus 0.5 per level physical power while in the jungle, increased to 8 plus 1.5 per level when in the enemy jungle. Minion Regeneration, Spirit Regeneration also stacks on minions. Kira, Bringer of Mercy, Mercy costs 10 less mana, reduces cooldowns by 1 second on hit. Virulent Dust, Dust deals an additional 8% missing health damage to enemies with 6 stacks of Wrath applied to them. Siphoning Purge, Purge heals Kira for 10% of damage dealt to heroes. Kwang, Slayer of Heavens, Strike to the Heavens deals 25% more damage and refunds 50% cooldowns. Aura of the Heavens, gain 3% Omnivamp, nearby allied heroes gain 5% Omnivamp. Heavenly Tactician, Fury of the Heavens, cooldown is reduced by 10 seconds and Kwang no longer retrieves his Heavenly Blade upon recalling. Lieutenant Belica, Devastating Bomb, Void Bomb deals 10% more damage to isolated targets. Combat Veteran, gains 0.1 through 4 experience a second based on level. Suppressive Fire, Belica's basic attacks deal plus 8% magical power power magical damage on hit. Morigesh, Spirit Shred, basic attack shred 4% magical armor for 4 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Ritual of Dead, takedowns decrease your ultimate's cooldown by 20 seconds. Cursed Infestation, Hive has 20% more range and deals 10% more damage. Mourn, Nightmare Extractor, casting an ability reduces the cooldown of Extract by 20%. Contains Eclipse applied, Contagion to all heroes on use. Dreadful Roots, abduct Slingshots Mourn to terrain. Murdock, Lockdown Protocol, Murdock gains 2 additional max static trap charges. Justice Reach, Shots Fired has plus 300% additional range and now pierces units. Sharp Shot, Long Arm of the Law deals 10% more damage and grants 30 more gold on kill. Muriel, Circuit Reset, a liquidity reduces ability cooldowns by 1.5 seconds on shielding an ally or yourself. Fortune's Cleansing, Reversal of Fortune cleanses the ally it's used on, granting 1.75 seconds of CC immunity. Essence Nullifier, Serenity drains 10 plus 2 through 10% target's current mana when damaging a target, dealing it as bonus damage. Narbash, Berserker Beat, March grants allies plus 12 through 24% attack speed. Rhythmic Recharge, Narbash restores mana equal to 10% of damage received. Percussive Tear, Crash Bang Boom shreds 2.5% armor for 3 seconds each hit on refresh. Phase, Essence Stream, Essence Catalyst restores 5% missing mana to allied heroes over this duration. Final Flash, Energy Lash is 30% shorter but deals 20 to 70% more damage based on its level. Kindred Surge, Hyperflux grants 10% more movement speed and grants 1.5% max health regen for the duration of 8 seconds. Rampage, Crushing Impact, Boulder Throw deals 0 to 70% more damage based on distance through 0 to 400 units and can be ripped out of mid-air. The Rumbling, Rumble no longer has a cooldown but it deals less damage, costs 10 more mana and slows Rampage while it's active. Tiny Titan, Behemoth now shrinks Rampage, removing his combat penalty and granting him 80% total attack speed, but he receives 25% more damage. Revenant, Quick Draw, Revenant reloads 30% faster. Spectral Bounty, while in the Netherrealm, temporarily steals 6% of the target's physical and magical power. If you kill them, gain 50% of its permanently. Phantom Finisher, Hellfire rounds 4 shots deals 10% more damage and ignores 30% bonus physical armor. Riktor, Chain Jail, Riplash has 10% increased range and its cooldown is reduced 30% on hit. Current Overload, Electrocute grants 5% more movement speed and deals 30% more damage to monsters. Wanton Warden, regenerate health equal to 5 through 8% of damage taken over 5 seconds. Serath, Vital Resonance, Fallen Grace restores plus 150% of total physical power held on pickup. Wrath Unleashed, Serath gains 20% critical strike chance while Heresy is active. Crushing Descend, Ascend stuns for 0.5 seconds on dealing damage. Sevarog, Grim Harvest, Siphon executes targets that fall below 5% max health. Unholy Pursuit, Phantom Rush grants 2 souls when damaging heroes. Its cooldown is also reset when Colossal Blow hits a hero. Gravebreaker, Colossal Blow knocks enemies back 30% further. Each stack tier increase this by 30% more. Shinbi, Showstopper, Rushing Beat applies 2 stacks of track to targets, bites per minute, ability hits reduce Binding Melodies cooldown by 100% more. Monstrous Rhythm, killing a camp leader grants you 0.5 ability haste. Skylar, Suppressive Fire, gain 12% attack range while using Air Assault. Plasma Barrage, Plasma Grenade reduces its own cooldown by 3.5 seconds when attacking to an enemy hero. Atomized Artillery, Atomizer now fires 3 blast cannons in succession, each dealing 40% of the original damage. Sparrow, Endless Hunt, takedowns reset Sparrow's basic ability cooldowns. Veiled Stalker, heightened sense grants true stealth and 35% movement speed for 1.5 seconds. Huntress Volley, Inner Fire releases a fan of 5 arrows instead of 3, has 20% more range and releases 2 more volleys. Steel, Bulldozer, while using Bull Rush, become unstoppable and gain 50% damage reduction. Colossal Crash, Shield Slam has 35% increased range, is 10% larger and now knocks back enemies away from steel on impact. Adaptive Fortress, Shield Wall now has 2 charges but is reduced in size. Terra, Unbreakable Stance, Wild Rush grants 15 to 65% damage reduction while it is channeling. Cuirassier's Will, while Unstoppable Force is active, gain a stack of Cuirassier every 1 second. Axe Retrieval, Highland Hurl can be picked up, reducing its cooldown by 50%. The Fae, Natural Infusion, damaging heroes with Harvest Nettles grant 8 ability haste for 5 seconds, stacking infinitely. Wild Growth, Granville Batch has 40% more range. Verdant Embrace, R&B heals allies inside for 30 plus 30% magical power over the duration. Repeat the healing on the explosion. Twin Blast, Double Trouble, Vortex Grenades has 1 additional max charge. Rocket Dash grants 1 charge on use. Amplified Burst Vaporizes has 15% more range. Recoil Barrage, Ventilate pushes back enemies. Its force increases the closer they are to you from 0 to 1000 units. Wraith, Mystic Marksman, Knock Knock now deals magical damage. Stealth Matrix, Surprise Surprise has 50% higher cooldown but affects nearby allies with 950 units. Sniper's Bounty, Knock Knock grants 5 additional gold on kill, increased to 50 for hero kill. Wukong, From Up High, Slam damage is no longer height capped, 60% scaling non-linear, 60% through 100% based on 1,500 to 10,000 height. Masterful Mimicry, increase maximum clones by 1, generate 1 stack of hair every 3 seconds. Prosperous Path, Spirit Kills, heals you for 2% missing health, while Body Kills grant 4 additional gold. Skull. Yin, Reversal of Fate. Deflecting a projectile grants 20% decay and movement speed over 2 seconds and grants 40 to 210 based on level, shield for 3 seconds. Grounded Tether, Lash Kick cooldown is reduced 40% when used on terrain. Storm of Salvation, Wind Burn duration increased by 2 seconds, while active it grants 1% missing health, healing on hit reduced to 0.2 seconds for non-heroes. Zaris, the Ascended, gain plus 12 health and plus 1.5 physical power every minute. Nerean Hurl, Spear of Near, cooldown is only 40% longer when thrown. Flow State evades, cooldown is 15% lower and its cooldown resets on takedown. Zinx, Heal Matrix, Infuse now has 2 charge but heals 20% less. Terminal Treatment infuses on-hit damage increased by 0 to 50% based on missing health. Flux Resonance, Ricochet bounces 30% further, hitting an enemy reduces its current cooldown by 5%, increased to 10% for heroes. Yuri, Hallowed Reverberation, Hallowed Strikes gain 150 additional range and bounce 2 additional times. Soul Weaver, Soulstorm's cooldown is 15% lower and now grants 20% damage reduction while casting for each unique hero damaged by the AoE, increased damage reduction by an additional 8%. Infernal Surge, destroying a Torn Spirit grants 20% decay and movement speed over 3 seconds. And that, guys, is everything that you need to know for all the hero augments coming in version 1.6 of Predecessor. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If so, please follow, like, comment, and share for more.